So this project, I've got a very specific box I'm living in. If we haven't met yet, my name's Arliss. I live in northeastern Oklahoma, and I have done tons and tons of remodel work, kitchens, bathrooms, whatever, additions, all that stuff. But I've never built a house from scratch. And so this is the first time, not by myself, I've helped with that process. So this is new territory for me. But what I'm doing is I'm trying to do this as cheap as possible. And I watch all kinds of videos where people say that they say, budget build. And their version of that is not my version of that. Most of everything I'm going to get will either be free, and I've been kind of stockpiling some stuff over the last year, literally, either free, Facebook Marketplace, or something to that extent. I'm going to do my best not to spend a lot of time inside of Home Depot or Lowe's or any lumber yard. And I've done this a lot. I've done stuff even for clients where we found used materials and it saves an absolute ton of money. And so when I say budget, it might mean something a little different than you are. But the problem is with that, I've got to make some compromises in terms of I'd rather have this product, but this is available for a price or whatever. And so keep that in mind. A lot of the stuff you're going to see me use is going to be obviously used. And so it may look sketchy, but just trust me that I'm not going to use anything that's unstable or unsafe or whatever. But a lot of times if wood's been setting out, it gets kind of gray look, and sometimes it'll even get mold on it. And even when you build a new house, you go in and you spray before you put insulation and all that to kill whatever's there, bugs and otherwise. And so until this is done, it may look just a little bit not as pretty as what you see if you passed a new construction site where people are pumping them out and they don't have time and they don't care. But I'm building this. I'm doing as much of it as I can myself. That means electric, HVAC for the most part. I've got somebody that might come in and help me because I don't have some of the tools. Plumbing, maybe I already said that, but where I'm building this, it's outside of any sort of municipality. It's out of city limits. It's right off a county road, and so I have county water and rural electric, and so it's not going to be off-grid or anything like that, but that's really kind of the parameters I've set on myself. I may not do my own septic. I was planning on doing that, but after kind of looking at what's required, it may not be the best idea just because I'm not real experienced with operating like a backhoe and stuff like that. And so I'm going to do a ton of this myself. I'm going to have some help on a few things, but more than likely you're just going to see me out here doing things by myself. And so probably pretty boring for some of you, but that's just kind of what you can expect. I'm going to do my best to put out at least one video every week, probably more like two, depending on what's going on. And this is kind of, it's not my full-time job per se, but pretty close to it. I have another job, but it's not where I have to be in an office or any sort of situation like that. So I'm going to spend a lot of time out here, and my goal is to have this thing dried in like 3 or 4 months, which is pretty tough to do, but it's a small house. It'll be about 750 square feet, 2-bedroom, 1 bathroom, and pretty much almost half of it will be really open. It'll be kitchen, dining area, living room, entry, all that in one big open space. And so I'm hoping it won't take me too awful long by myself, but I've actually already got started, and I've kind of waited a while to shoot this intro because I wanted to backlog some footage, but I will do my best just to try to give you the good parts. I know not everybody likes to watch, real time people nailing stuff together and whatever, and some of it I'll do that way, but a lot of it will just be, here's what I did, or I'll set up a time lapse and things like that. So before you get ugly in the comments, what I'm doing here is perfectly fine. It's going to be pretty safe. Believe it or not, I actually know most of what I'm doing. I'm going to have friends of mine who are licensed electrician, plumbing, HVAC come and check out what I've done, help me establish a plan and make sure I'm not doing anything that's going to harm anyone financially or otherwise in the future. And so I live in a state where you can do this kind of thing. The only thing you really have to have inspected, whatever, would be your septic, and that makes sense to me, I guess. But there are plenty of people that have built stuff out of pocket, and who knows what their septic is. But we're going to do everything as right as we can. And Some of it won't look like brand new and shiny, but trust me, when we get done, I've been down this road before, and it's honestly surprising what you can do with used materials that you kind of repurpose and clean up. And so that's what I'm doing, building a house mostly by myself, trying to build it out of pocket. I'm gonna do my best to give you kind of a breakdown of my cost so far. And so as it stands, I'm deeper in it than I'm gonna tell you, but I'll tell you later in the videos that I just bought this lot. I've paid $12,000 for it. It's 1 acre, and I paid another $650 to close on it. I had to pay $100 for my floodplain permit and 911 address, and I think I had to pay like $300 to get temporary electric. I'm not sure if it's going to cost me more. I think that's all I have to pay. And then I'm waiting to get an estimate for the water. I've also paid $200 for a perk test. So I don't know how much that is. I'll total it all up later and put it on screen. But that's kind of where I'm at right now, and I'm going to do my best to show you the cost breakdown with everything I've done. And some of it's kind of hard because I've had some materials, like I've got a slab of marble that I bought a year ago, and I paid $150 for it, and that's going to be all the countertop in our kitchen. It's super nice Carrara marble, and so I just had that, and I'll add that in too. But some things I bought a long time ago, I don't remember all the details. I'll do my best to estimate that. And there's some things here that cannot be replicated if you're watching this trying to be inspired or whatever. I have a friend who has a backhoe. He's a builder, and I do some work with him, and I'm going to borrow his backhoe, and it's not going to cost me anything. And he also has a culvert that he's got a pile of them, and so I'm going to get that too for free. There's all kinds of things that I'm calling on favors for people that I know and stuff like that. And so in essence, I guess I'm kind of cheating some of my rules, but you'll get the picture. And I don't know how much it's going to cost. I have a budget in mind, but I'm not going to say a number because I know how it goes with these projects. But I'm excited about it, and I hope that you'll stick around for this journey. I just wanted to give you an update. I'm sitting in the parking lot at the courthouse in the county where I'm building, and just wanted to share the process that I have to go through where I'm at. It might be different where you're at, but maybe you're following along. You're kind of trying to figure out, like I am, what is the next step? It seems like it goes in this order, that you have to get a 911 address and then a floodplain permit, and that cost me $100. And I guess they go and look at it, look at FEMA maps and make sure, yeah, you can build something here. I also had to get those things to get electric. Even my temporary service, they want that information. And so I don't know, that might be helpful to you or maybe not. And then the water company, I talked to them, and it's rural water. There is water across the road, but I'm a little bit concerned that it might cost me a ton extra to drill under the road to get my meter, and maybe that they won't do it, and then I'll have to drill a well, which is a whole other can of worms, but we'll figure it out. But for them, it cost me, their original fee was $1,700, $1,750, which is pretty high for this area. This water district is not the one that people want to be in mostly, and that's just to get your meter set and have a connection. And then I think electric is $45 to be a member because it's a co-op, and then $35 for a new connection fee. And then I might have to pay some sort of deposit. I think it was like $300 to get my temporary service. And then that turns into your permanent service. Where I'm building at, and I'll show you pictures and video of it later, you'll see it, but the easement for the utility company for the power is right on the property, and so it should be fairly easy to get them to set a meter on the existing pole and all that stuff. But this is all new to me. I'm just trying to share my experience because I have never done this before, and the process is a little bit different than you might expect. So I'm working on stuff, but I'm also waiting on floodplain permit, 911 address. Both of those I applied for today. And then when I get those, I can do the utilities. So I spent more than half the day doing the legal stuff, the permitting kind of things, whatever, for floodplain and trying to get power and all that. So I didn't get a lot of time here, but I just ran out of battery on my chainsaw. I know it's not a man saw, but the thing I like about it is it starts up. It's not gonna get gummed up in the carb because you forgot to take the gas out or whatever. But anyway, just wanted to show you the progress I'd made. The first thing I did, let me turn around. First thing I did was kind of get a rough layout. You can kind of see the screen, the string, and made a perimeter. And the rest of it used to look, dense like this. And just taking, cut out, with loppers I cut out the little stuff, and then I cut the smaller trees, and I cut 2 of the bigger ones I've got. 1, 2, 3, kind of 4, because it's a Y, maybe 6, pretty much. I'm gonna measure it again just to see how I like it. I still haven't gotten a response back from the utilities company. Let me show you what that looks like. I've got this utility easement in the front that kind of cuts out, and you can see they've got like this cut back here, and I'm trying to figure out how close to that I can build, because I want to build probably 10 feet off of it. I'm hoping that's not going to mess anything up, so hopefully they say yes. I just wanted to give an update. I have my 911 address, which costs nothing. I got my floodplain permit, which you have to have your 911 address to do that, kind of, which was $100. I just set up temporary service, which will turn into regular electric with the electric company that services that area, and that cost me $340, and $300 of that is actually just a deposit, and so I don't know if that's normal or what, but I have to wait like 7 days or something like that for a staking engineer to come out and tell me where they're going to put a temporary pole, or if they're just going to use the because there's an easement through it. And I also got an answer about the setbacks for the utilities, because I have a utility easement in the front of the property I'm building on. Tomorrow I'm going to dig some holes for the perk test guy. He's got to drill 3 holes, or I have to drill 3 holes. He said if I did it, it would cost me $100 less. And so that'll be $200 to get my perk test. Once I have my perk test, I'll know what septic requirements I have, and then I can also go to the water company, and they will tell me what they're going to do and what it's going to cost. And the water will probably be the most expensive. Well, obviously most expensive. Utilities are just kind of that way, but just an update. And I'm probably forgetting something, but whatever. Well, I'm finally getting around to digging some holes for the perk test. He's supposed to come on Monday. It's Saturday night right now, but we had a few days of rain, which probably kind of helped me a little bit, but I was not looking forward to this, but it's actually a little better than I expected. I was worried it was just going to be solid rock, but there's actually some dirt between the rocks, and the rocks aren't that big so far. I'll show you. The actual topsoil looks pretty good, and the rocks are about like that. See them kind of peeking through. I got to go down 2 feet, 3 holes, kind of in a triangle, I guess is what they do. And so this is one of the lower holes. This is the bottom of the property, and goes uphill about 4 feet. And then up there, you kind of see the string line. That's where the house will be. And right where that log is will be the 3rd hole. So I've got 2, 175 foot that way, close to the property line. And then this way, halfway down with that one. And then I've got 1 more to drill. I've got an auger in my truck, but it might be easier just to go for it. And I always need the exercise, so. I just pulled up. I'm about to meet with the perk test guy. He's going to fill up the holes I drilled with some water and write up a report and tell me what we've got to do for septic. So I'm a little anxious about what this is going to be like. We'll see. I filled up the holes with water last night, like he said, and one of them like drained just like that, and then the other 2 took about a minute and a half for them to go down to nothing. And so I'm not sure what that means, but I know you'll be able to
tell me. I'm hoping that whatever it is, it will be the easier version of what I'm supposed to do, because it's. I think what they do is they tell you how many feet of lateral line you have to have or something like that. But so the less feet, the better, and the cheaper. I just left the site with the perk test guy, and he's super nice, very helpful, and everything looks good. What he was telling me is that my lateral lines will have to be, they can't go straight down a hill. They have to be like kind of half moon side shape, and that might make it a little harder to do. I was planning on doing septic myself. That may make it where I can't, but and then I asked him, I wanted to do a lot split that thing in half, just so I have an option later if I decide to develop the other half of it, because our state minimums for septic are a half an acre, and the other one probably have to be a more expensive aerobic system, but at least I have the lot that I can build on. And the way it's laid out, I want to build way on the other side anyway for this possibly first house, maybe the only house on the lot. But anyway, that was pretty good. I was afraid he was going to be like, oh, you have to do this special thing, or they're not going to let you do this or whatever, but all those fears were just unfounded. So anyway, now I've got to talk to the water company again. Now that I have that, I just found out too that I have to call the county to put in a culvert. I didn't realize that. I was talking to another friend of mine who's a builder, and he said they just started requiring you to do that, and so that's not good news, but hopefully everything will go smooth with that.